Welcome to Auto Souls Garage. Today we're excited to introduce the newest addition to the Auto Souls Garage video lineup. We're calling this a subscriber showcase. In our future subscriber showcase segments, we're going to outline and go over as much information as possible on our various subscribers' cars and the history behind those. We hope you enjoy the new video lineup subscriber showcase at Auto Souls Garage. Recently, if you followed the Tuesday taillight shorts, you'll notice that we did some very special shorts, including the newest addition to the Auto Souls Garage lineup, which was Jay Bouder's 1968 AMX, the no deposit, no return. This car has a unique history to it, and we're excited to tell the story about this iconic race car. Now, Jay was a typical car crazy gearhead like most of us. He didn't have enough money to really get things done without doing the bulk of it yourself. His friend had just purchased a brand new 68 AMX. Jay really dug the car and thought it was a really sporty deal. He had some major envy of his buddy's new ride. In his mind, it could be something a little bit different than the run-of-the-mill Mustang or Camaro. And he felt that he could make it special, you know, like an over-the-top ground pounder. So his friend, after only 1 year, decided to sell it. Jay purchased the AMX, and the second phase of this car's life began. Not having an ideal setup to work on the car, Jay rented a back alley garage for $40 a month. He had envisioned a paint theme and began to produce the wild graphics using an air compressor that he had hand-built with some spare parts, and with basic tools in a garage lit with only a small overhead light and a handheld drop light, he produced one of the most amazing paint jobs I've ever seen. Now, a lot of you are wondering, how he was able to produce those wild string-like effects, Well, the truth is, he used lacquer paint, pointed the gun in the air, and sprayed short bursts. They partially cured, and the long strands fell and leveled out into the erratic pattern that you see on the awesome car. Now, as for the name, well, that was offered up by a young lady friend of Jay's who read it off the bottom of her Coke bottle. Even though it made no sense, the name stuck. The hand-painted lettering was done by his friend Steve, whose memory lives in the graphics imprinted on the side of this race car. Sadly, Steve's life was taken while trying to break up a street fight being a good Samaritan. While all of the artistic aspects of the work were being performed, the engine was pulled, torn down, and delivered to Hill's Performance, where Charlie Hill himself bored the original 390 30 over. A set of J&E pistons were installed, producing a 12-to-1 compression ratio. The heads only had extra bolts installed and were pretty much stock. B&M hydro transmission with a 5,000 stall converter and hooker headers rounded out the package nicely. Suspension was stock aside from a trick set of traction bars that Jay had made himself. Factory 500 gears, Henry hardened axles, connected to M&H slicks, and in turn to push the beast down the asphalt. This AMX took numerous trophies as it run up and down the East Coast dragways. Running in the low 11s, it's not bad for an alley-built drag car. However, after 3 years, Jay had to pause his self-funded race venture and move in a different direction in his life. Jay ended up selling the car to a local kid who wanted to use the wildly painted, wicked fast car as a chick magnet. I'm sure he picked up a couple honeys with it, but he picked up speeding tickets. That was just before he blew the engine up. No deposit, no return was backed into a barn where it would remain entombed for 33 years. Fast forward to Phase 4. George, an avid AMC collector from New Jersey, finds the car in a barn and begins to inquire about its history. Since Jay's name was painted on the door, he attempts to call him a few times. Lo and behold, Jay answers the 5th attempt, at which time the collector invited Jay to see the car he'd owned 33 years prior. Of course, Jay was ecstatic with the news. Throughout the years, Jay had tried to locate the car to no avail. Surprisingly, it was never far from his home. So you can imagine his excitement when he loaded up his 2 sons and hit the road to meet up with the new owner. Jay couldn't believe that he could show them firsthand how he had built the car back in his younger days. All in all, the car was still in amazing shape. The thick coating of dust and barn dirt needed only good cleaning and shine. Of course, after seeing the car again, Jay offered to buy it. However, the new owner wanted to get it back into race trim and back to the track. He said that after he ran it for a season or so, that he'd think about selling it back to Jay. Now, George was very good to the AMX. He installed his own powertrain. We were able to find out that George had put a 401 bored 30 over and stroked it to 420 cubic inches. Offset ground crank, Cirilio H-beam Chevy rods, Vanola 11-to-1 pistons, NASCAR X-heads, roller cam, cross ram intake with a Dominator. The trans was a TH400 JW blow profile housing, trans specialty clutches, drums and hubs, and a reverse manual valve body. The rear was an AMC Spicer with Moser Engineering spoil, 31 spline forged axles, and was spun by 456 gears. Suspension was done with Q&A 1 drag shocks. The setup was originally built for a Javelin that George had built the year before and pushed her almost into the 9s during the muscle car nostalgia events up and down the East Coast in 2006. Now George kept his word and sold the flashy AMX back to Jay at the end of the season. Short of the beastie driveline, Jay brought the roller back home to PA. Phase 5. Just what every old school gearhead wishes. Include their own offspring in the resurrecting of their useful dreams. And when it's building your original car back, you just can't get any better joy. Jay was able to do just that. With the assistance of his 2 sons, Jay got the chance to live his dream a second time. This time was slightly different. Since the car was purchased as a roller, they needed to find a powertrain. They enlisted the talents of a very well-respected engine builder, Crimes Automotive. First off, a 401 block was located and bored 30 over. A stroker crank, aluminum rods, 12-to-1 pistons stretched the block out to 424 cubic inches. An 8-quart Maladon pan, topped off with a 950 Holley double pumper using a 6-pound return to the fuel cell. They sparked it with an MSD ignition. All of this pushes through a modified 727 with a gear vendor's underdrive overdrive linked up to a Detroit locker 411 gear with hardened axles and using the old standby M&H slicks. Stopping power was 4-wheel discs and sway was controlled with a 1 16 sway bar. Everything is cool with an aluminum radiator, twin electric fans, and an electric water pump. Jay's beloved AMX saw plenty of drive time. She made her rounds on a nostalgic race circuit, hit the turkey run at Daytona, and other major events, collecting even more trophies wherever she went. As health issues started to come into play, Jay sought to find someone to purchase and care for the car. He enlisted the aid of a so-called custom car sales company in southern New Jersey to help him out. The car remained there for a time in the hopes of finding a special purchaser. During its stay, that company would run the car periodically. Jay received a call from this custom sales car company stating that there had been an accident. It seems that the company's cowboy yard jockey decided to pull some hole shots without scaring the hood pins. You guessed it. Hood flew up and rolled back against the windshield. Luckily, the car gods again watched over the car. Don't get me wrong, the hood was severely damaged, leaving bent rear corners on a one-of-a-kind survivor. As fate would have it, Auto Soul's Garage came into the picture. After negotiation, a deal was made. The trailer was hitched and we went off to save the car from the company who had damaged it. Soon after, the car came into our care. Jay passed on.
Now press it 3 times. There you go, that's the brightest.
Alright, you're in. Thanks, man.
Leaving no deposit in our care, we hope that Jay would be proud to know that we love the car as much as he did. After Jay's passing, No Deposit, No Return began the next phase of her amazing existence. While I'm all about the stories of the cars, and we all know that chicks dig big scars, the hood, it had to be addressed, because it was caused by stupidity and not inflicted in a blacktop battle. We found one man who works alone and takes his time to bring the hood back to its original appearance. We delivered the hood to Elizabethton, Tennessee, where it was cared for by Frank Fitzsimmons. Frank worked his magic on it and brought it back to its former condition. Auto Souls will be taking this iconic car to show around as much as possible in the future. Be sure to look for more on No Deposit, No Return, as we'll be doing more video to ensure the car is not forgotten. We are proud to be the caretaker of this iconic race car. Jay Bouder's memory continues to live in the energy felt in and around this amazing piece of American Motors racing history.